thumbs up because we do have a good amount of people on Zoom. People on Zoom, can you guys hear me okay? Can anybody give me like a unmute for a minute and give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, or just say yeah?
Yep, we can hear you.
Can hear you.
Beautiful. Good.
Yep.
Great. Very good. Okay. Hi, Kathleen. Come on in. The closer you sit up front, the better, because we're all going to have to be able to see the screen. So I'm going to get a kind of a feel for what the level of TrendGraphix user is in here. Who has used TrendGraphix in the past? Has anybody used it? Okay, Mike, you have. Kathleen, you have. Okay. You guys, okay. So I guess here's a better question. Who hasn't logged in? Who's never been in TrendGraphix whatsoever? Okay, so about half you guys. In case you've never been in it. Okay. Okay. Casey, are you looking at the Zoom, or are you going to look at the screen? Okay. So, Garrett, I don't know. Is there any way you can monitor the chat if they say anything on there? So I want to make this open. I don't want to, like, you guys know how I teach. Like, I don't want to just talk at you guys for an hour. I definitely want to have you guys ask questions. I'm going to be showing you a lot of things, and I'm going to put the disclaimer out there. I've never been taught TrendGraphix. Like, this is literally just me clicking around in TrendGraphix over the last like 10 years or so. Like, I've never taken a class for it. It's the how-to videos in TrendGraphix aren't great. They're not really that useful. There's some stuff you can get info, but like, they have these really long videos and you have to kind of scroll around to find like the one question that you want. So the best way, in my opinion, for you guys, like you're going to learn some basic stuff of how to navigate and how to find a few things in here. But then from there, just really just poking around, like just playing with the technology and seeing, like, it's not the most user-friendly program in the world, like, just straight up with you. It's a little clunky at times, but once you know how to navigate and where you want to click, you can do it pretty fast. There's so much information in here. Like, I probably only know how to use like 5% of what it actually does. I'd be really curious to take like an in-depth TrendGraphix class, because there's so much information in here that it's kind of mind-boggling, actually. And I'll show you guys kind of how to filter through a few things. So what we're going to do first is we're going to dive in. I'm going to show you guys how to look up agents. So like, even if you want to look up yourself or another agent, or if you're talking to someone you want to bring to Keller Williams, or if you're going to do a deal with somebody and they're telling you that it's big time agent, you can look them up and you can see their real production, right? So like, TrendGraphix kind of cuts through the BS of like, you can go, well, here's how much business you actually do, and it cuts through it a little bit, and it's always interesting just to sort of see. And if you ever, like, we use it on my team, like, we'll look up, like, there's like 10,000 realtors in Northeast Ohio, and I'll even show you guys how to find that in here. And we kind of see where we're ranked, so we can say we're in the X percentage or whatever. So when we go on a listing presentation, we can kind of talk about that stuff. So it's a good way just to get data on yourself. And other things you can do with it, and again, we'll dive into this, is like, you can see your average days on market, you can see your list price to sales price ratio, you can get all of that information, so you can use that in your presentations. So we've been using that stuff in our listing presentations for years. And I literally just get it right out of TrendGraphix. I just pull the number right from there. And so you can even see like your list price to sales price ratio versus the entire market in Northeast Ohio. And then you can compare it and go, well, ours is 98%, the market average is 96% or something. So we're actually getting our clients 2% more money than the market average. And so you go, okay, what's 2% on a $200,000 house? What is that? What's 2% on it? Is that $4,000? Yeah. So you can tell your client, so on average on a $200,000 house, I can actually I can arguably get you $4,000 more than the general agent would, right? Then like, boom, that's a huge value to a client. Or you can say the average days on market in the MLS is, I don't even know, 26 days now, or whatever it is, and mine's 15. So hypothetically, I can sell your house, 11 days more, or whatever, So there's a piece of that where you can use your own data as an advantage when you're on a presentation. And then we're going to dive into, what does it look like? So if you're on a listing appointment, what data can you bring to get hyper local into the market and into the city, and show them the stats? So if you have a really high C seller, like a really analytical type person, you can show them market data, and they're just going to eat it up. And you can print it out, you can give it to them, or you can email it to them, and they're just going to review it, right? Especially sometimes really analytical sellers they don't like us fluffy real estate agents sometimes. Like they want to know, give me the hard data of what's going on. And so it's a great way to show them data, to not just take your word for it, but to actually give real life examples of what they can see. We don't always use TrendGraphix when we go on it. Like usually the only time that I'll do it is when I know either when it's like a hard seller, or like you know that they're data driven, or if they're a high C based on your conversations from them, or if they're a past client, or you know them. Like if they're an engineer, or if they're like, I don't know, insert analytical job, then you want to bring like a stack of papers and then kind of decide what you want to go through with them. Is there anybody that has played around in here? Are there other things that you guys want to go through today? I'm going to put some notes in here to make sure that we hit them.
Did you give everyone the sign in on how to get in?
That's a great, so we're not all going to be, you guys aren't going to be able to log in right now, because if you log in, it's actually going to boot me out once I click out of it. That's one of the challenges with TrendGraphix, is that we can't all be in at one time. So like if I'm in there getting stuff before listing and then Kathleen goes in and I click off and Kathleen's in, it boots me out. And this thing says like, you need to log back in and continue. So sometimes there's a fight if someone else is in there, everyone keeps clicking back and forth until one person just kind of gives up.
Okay, can you give us the sign in?
Do you know what it is off the
promises not to use it?
Yeah, so we'll, yeah, and sometimes it is just a fight, especially the more of us that we start to use it. It turns into that. So, you know, if you do it early in the morning, at night, or sometimes it's a little easier. No one's booting you out, but for the most part, it's fine. I was in there playing a while ago and no one was in there. So it's,
this is a program that the market center owns, and therefore we're able to use it, correct?
Yeah, we purchase a login for it. Yeah, I forget how much it is a month, you know? Yeah, so it's not super cheap, but for us, we use it and I love it as just a tool. Like I'm nerdy sometimes. I like the data, so it's worth it for us to do it. Especially for Keller Williams, we have to do all sorts of research on agents and, you know, all sorts of stuff. So it's worth it for us to have. But yeah, you probably can buy a version of it on your own. I'm sure there's even a stripped down version of it that you can buy on your own if you really wanted to. But nobody uses it enough to probably, yeah, to do that.
CJ, is it still branded Keller Williams, like Great Cleveland South Beach? I feel like that's what I've seen.
I emailed them this morning actually, and I literally like 20 minutes ago emailed them our new logos to do it, because yeah, if what he's talking about. So if you guys see in the bottom right here, it shows it there. And then when you export a document from there to go to a PDF, it shows it and it's blurry. It's a terrible thing. And I noticed it today when I was playing around. So yeah, I'm gonna work on getting that fixed. Hopefully today they get that fixed. Hopefully maybe while we're in the class they'll get that changed for us. It's just something in there. Then I put our new logo in, so it is in there, but for some reason it does still show that one. What else? What else do you guys want to get out of today that you know of TrendGraphix, or you've heard of people using it for? Is there anything else that you guys have done with it?
Wasn't it like the monthly stats? You can go down, like deep dive into certain neighborhoods or certain cities and just give, send out clients, stats to them monthly or weekly or however.
Yeah. So we're gonna hit that pretty hard today, because there's a lot of good data based on different cities that are zip codes around Northeast Ohio that we can use. What else? And again, I'm an amateur at this. I definitely don't want to come across as I'm a pro, because I'm not, right? It's literally just, I'm a bozo real estate agent who just played with it a bunch and I've learned just what I've learned, right? So I definitely want to give that out. Is there anything? Or she can unmute herself, because we can hear her through the TV if she wants to.
So I don't know if you guys can hear me. We use it for us. Hi guys. We use it for our seller check-in. So when we
yes, Amanda, we can't hear you. You're breaking up pretty bad. If you just put it in the chat box, Garrett will be able to read it. We'll do that.
Monthly, we're using TrendGraphix so that our sellers reductions
Yeah, you broke up on us pretty bad, Amanda. If you can put that in the chat box so we can get that. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
There's one chart in there. I should have tried to print it out ahead of time. It does not make sense to me. It talks about what the average list price of houses is, and then it shows the sales price. And there's like a huge difference between the two. And years ago, maybe that made sense, but today it doesn't seem like it makes sense. But I feel like it still shows like a huge delta between list price and sold price for certain for the reports that I've run. So I'm not sure anyone else.
We'll dive into it. We can look at it today. If you can kind of show us which one you're looking at, then we can try to figure out what makes sense of it. But yeah, that's good. What else with TrendGraphix? Anything you guys want to make sure you hit today? Yeah, Catherine.
You mentioned it before, but I use it to compare myself to another. If I am in a listing presentation and I'll ask before I go to the listing presentation, like, who else are you interviewing? And they'll tell me, they'll say, oh, we're interviewing 2 other agents. And I go, do you mind if you could share who you're interviewing with? I'd like to know who I'm in competition with. And they'll tell me, and then I would run up TrendGraphix and I can show what their numbers are in a certain county compared to what my numbers are in that county.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll just like slide it right in front of them and say, do you want to hire this person that's negative 20% in this county? Or do you want me that I'm at 40-something% in this county?
Right.
And they're like, that's a no-brainer. I'm like, sign here.
Yeah, for sure. That, yeah. So putting yourself, using it as a tool to put yourself in advantage over someone. And if you know that, awesome. And sometimes that's a small percentage when you know. And if you don't know, that's why I like going against the market average, just because at least it's kind of doing the same thing, but just on a little bit of a generic scale.
Also, we used to run it, we used to run the reports that what our office was doing compared to other offices. So our office is 9181, and we would take the Solon Howard Hanna office, and I think they're 2805 or something. And we would put the numbers in. It would say we took this many listings in this month. They only took this many.
Right.
And it shows us how many we've sold over how many they sold.
Yeah.
So if a new agent came aboard, they're like, and I still use it, I'm like, our office is taking more listings than this if this is my competitor.
Yeah.
List with us.
So some of those were a little doctored before, because I saw some of them and they were not accurate. No, so like for me, if I'm doing data, like I want to make sure it's accurate, because someone else might come in and be like, what do they talk about? That's actually, so I want to make sure that they're as legit as possible. And there's ways that we can do that to compare our office versus other office and listings taken. So yeah, we'll dive into a few of those different things. So this is the main home screen. Is it easier if I gotta be in the camera? Am I blocking this super bad for everyone?
Use it for our seller check-ins. It's just seller market.
Yeah, so that's like, I guess the big picture of this is the reason I use it on the listing side is to help get the price that I want. Like that's, at the end of the day, that's the goal of going through this data, to show them why we need to price it where we think we need to price it. And sometimes if a seller is like wants to go to a crazy high price, you can tell them why that doesn't make sense. So first, I want to show you guys how to look at agent information. So this is sort of the main home screen once you log in. So if you see up in the top left here where it says brokerage reports and facts and trends, it's confusing. I don't know why they have it broken out this way, but it just is what it is. So we're going to click in this reports first. And so I don't know if you guys want to take notes or what the best way to go about it is for you guys. So so if we're looking at agents, so specifically agents, we want to click on this report type that says top producer. Like this is not, I'm realizing this as I'm clicking like 2 or 3 times, it's not going to be the most entertaining class you guys have ever been to, but it's good information. So you want to go top producer, and a lot of the stuff you don't really need to change, or at least I don't when I look at it. You can keep market share because you can play with it after. And then here where it says select an area, so you can decide what area you want to look at. You can do it by county or you can do it by cities. And these little check boxes on the left sort of show you, you can pick whatever ones you want. So in this situation, just to show you guys a blanketed example, I'm going to click the entire MLS because I want to kind of start wide and then I'm going to zoom in. So we're going to look at every single agent that's in our MLS, pretty much in Northeast Ohio. There's some that are in Columbus, and it goes up to like some that are up in like Sandusky and Toledo. And then obviously Northeast Ohio, and we'll kind of poke around in there and show you. So you can literally pick, so by county, by city, you have to scroll down if you found Cuyahoga County in here. And then you can pick the whole county if you wanted to, if you check that box. And then you could obviously pick by city, or if you want to do multiple cities, if you're looking at an agent, so for my team, what we do is, and we do for the market center too. So if we're looking to recruit an agent for our team, we can filter out agents. We look at agents who've been in the business like 3 years, who sell about, 1 to 7 houses per year. So we can filter those agents. We can get a big list of them, and then we can contact all those agents because those might be people more likely to join our team, right? So you can filter through. So again, I'm just going to kind of show you again. These are just other filters you can look at to narrow it down. So here, so based on what they're selling or what property type they are. So we're going to do all houses that are out there, all property types. Or if you want to just do residential, you can just do that, or just single family, or residential and single family. You know, you can do condos, just condos if you wanted to, you know, multi-units or land. So you can pick any variation of those that you want to get a little bit more hyper focused on the data that you wanted to come out with. Again, so if it's a short sale or not, so maybe you're looking for an agent who sells a bunch of short sales because, I don't know, you want them on your team, or you want to recruit them, or you want to ask them for advice, or who knows what, you can pick that. I rarely do that one. And then obviously if they're selling bank owned or non-bank owned. Okay, so back up to the top here. So again, you can pick, again, another filter if you wanted to. So if you're looking for agents who are selling at a high price point, you can filter this as much as you want. You can figure out the date range that you want. Typically I do the rolling 12 months. So the last 12 months, that's probably the most common that I do. I'll show you guys. So let's just, for the heck of it, because it'll be interesting to see the data. Let's just pick the last 4 years, and we'll just be able to see what's out there. Then we'll zoom in a bit more. Again, you can change this to however you want here. And then this one, the broker office, gets a little confusing. If you're looking up just agents, I would make sure you check the agent box. If you want to find a specific agent, like let's just look up Amanda. Amanda, we're going to look you up in TrendGraphix. I know you wouldn't be ashamed of it. So we put in her name, and you can put any information you want to find it. So you see, I don't know why you have a bunch of different names, but you do, Amanda. I don't know why she has those. Okay, we're just going to pick this top one. So you have to add it's like, this is where it gets a little clunky. You have to check it. You have to add the results to this box, and then you hit OK. So now we're going to look at specifically just Amanda's information over the last 4 years. Remember, we changed that. So actually, let's just do it for the last 12 months for right now. So again, top producer, do general market share. We're going to do all of Northeast Ohio. So no cities selected. We're going to do everything, every property type, all, you know, short sale, no short sales, and bank owned and not. So we're going to do everything. And we're going to look up just one specific agent here. So I'm going to hit show report. It takes a sec. So now you guys can see, so this gives a lot of data about Amanda here. Okay. So Amanda, so it has her, you know, if there's a bunch of agents, obviously it's 1 of 1. So she's number 1. It shows, so Amanda's a broker. So it shows her new broker license ID. It shows her name, her email address, her phone number, her office code, obviously her office name. And so this shows Amanda's sales in units over the last year. So something's not right there. It only shows 55.
Probably because she became a broker.
Oh, you're right. Oh yeah, you're right. So that's only been whatever, a few months or handful of months. So that's okay. So just go with that in this situation. So her total sales, this is in million. So this means 12,708,000 in sales volume. How they do it that way? Does that make sense to everybody? Listing sales, and so in the last year, she had 25 listing sales. So her average listing price, can you guys see that okay? Am I totally blocking that? Yeah, it might be easier for you. Yeah, if you slide over. And again, if you guys have questions or you're not sure what something means in here, again, I'm coming at this from a total amateur of just me clicking around and learning this over the years. So if you have something, or if I say something that doesn't make sense, feel free to stop me. So Amanda's average list price, again, since she became broker, is almost $217,000. So she had 30 buyer sales in the past 12 months. Average buyer price is $243,000. She currently has 4.5 listings. I don't know what the half is, maybe a rental or something. Her average list price right now of her listings is $478,000. So awesome price. Her average days on market, so to sold, is 34 days. So you could see, like, you could get a ton of data, and I'll show you guys how we'll compare this to the whole market in a minute. So her average sold price to list price percentage is 98%. So that's that data I was talking about. So if she's going on a listing appointment, she'd go, well, I'm getting 98.66% of list price. So if I'm listing at $100,000, I'm going to get you most likely $98,660. so her sales price to original list price, the difference of that is, original list price is your starting price. And then the other list price is if you did a price reduction and then sold it. So the original list price is that first price before you ever do any kind of price reduction. Then her average commission, which that number don't pay attention to, and same with GCI, don't pay attention to. They're very ish numbers. It's not always that accurate. It's sort of, they're just sort of guessing of what this is based on what they do. So now we can, so there's a couple things we can do from here. So if you want to get more data on Amanda, if you see this little box here with the plus sign, so we want to find more information on Amanda, which you can find all sorts of things. So if you see here all these different things, so if you wanted to separate the columns in agent first name and last name instead of just her whole name, right? And this is a lot of this is if you're going to export it into something else. Agent type, her address, like her home address, so you can actually get people's home addresses if you want, and yours is probably in there too. So you can get her office information. So the boxes that are checked are the ones that we went through. So other things you can do, I'm not going to go through all of these, but you guys can look at some of the different ones that are here. Total sales and units for market share. So you can see what kind of market share you have in listings. So if you're really zoning on a city, so Amanda does a lot of Shaker Heights. So it'd be interesting to see what market share Amanda has in just Shaker Heights, and you can see the percentage of it. It's pretty interesting. Again, just data, just to help you make decisions, and maybe she can use that in a listing presentation if she's in a certain area. So again, all these listing sales by volume, so you can look at all these different things. There's a million buyer sales, market share, like her buyer's average price. I mean, so a million different things that you can pick from if you want to get more information on these. So a lot to do. And then obviously like the CDOM that we all know what it's all about, right? Does that make sense of how I'm explaining that? So if you want, you can really get deep into some of this stuff. For this, you can tell they give you kind of the basic stuff. Okay, so now what I'm gonna show you guys, and see on the bottom left here by my mouse where it says report totals and location totals. So if you see on the bottom, might be easier, I guess, if I point here. So the location totals, wait, is that gonna make sense in this one? No, let's pause that. So let's do this. Okay. I'll show you guys that in a minute of what that is. I'll show you. It'll be easier. It's going to show averages. No, I guess this does work. Okay, we'll do it. So some of these are totals. So where it says location totals. So that's like all of the Northeast Ohio MLS combined together. So if you go over here, so if you see like average commission, so Amanda's is 3%, this shows her. So the average in the MLS shows at 2.82%. So here's the one that I was talking about that you can use for your listing presentation if you wanted to. So your sales price to original list price, so Amanda's 98.66. So the market right now is 98.23, right? So out of 10,000 agents in Northeast Ohio, which by the way is crazy high, like I've never seen it that high before. But Amanda could still go into her appointment and say, I'm getting this much, and then the average is still this. Again, so sold price, so hers is the same. So again, she's beating it, and this is about the same. So this pretty much tells us that there's really almost no price reductions nowadays. Like it's coming very rare. So here's a big one for her. So her average days on market for her listings, hers is 34, and the average right now is 51. So what can Amanda do if she goes into a listing appointment right now? What can she say?
I'm selling things faster than the other people in the MLS.
Yeah. So what's the difference of that? What's the difference of 51 and 34? Who's good? 17. So Amanda could go into her clients right now and say, "No, by the way, I'm selling my houses 17 days faster than the market average." Right. So again, just like we wanted to like give those reasons why they're higher, and she's selling it, I don't know, 0.5% more than what the market's getting her. Not a huge difference, but maybe it does. You know what I mean? It might put her over the edge or just solidify her thing. Her average sale price. So if she's going into higher listing point prices right now, the market average right now is 245. Hers is 478, her price point. So if she's going into a higher price listing, that might help her say, look how much higher my price is than the average agent in Northeast Ohio. Inventory, some of that stuff's not going to matter. Again, buyer price, hers is a lot higher than the average. So does that make sense of how you can use that in your listing presentations if you wanted to? Any questions or thoughts on any of that stuff? Is that helpful of what we're doing? Again, if you guys, if you want to go in a different direction, just tell me. And
CJ, does that print so somebody could show that comparative versus having to have it pulled up? So that they can see the report totals versus the location?
you can. Do you know what I do in my presentation is we'll literally like take those numbers and we'll just plug it right into our listing presentation. Like we have a slide that we show that shows some stats. I have like a bar graph, and we'll do like you know, I'll do one that'll show like our average days on market, like our team versus the average, and it's a bar graph that shows that we sell them faster than the market. It's again just like visuals that we show. And then we do one like same was like the list price to sales ratio, whatever ours is now, we show that compared to everyone else. And then I go like, okay, so if we're getting you 0.5% more than the average agent, you know, at your price of a house, you know, we're going to get you $3,000 more, $2,000 more on average, right? So by listing with us out of the gate, we're going to get you $2,000 more, right? So again, I show a graph of what that looks like, and I kind of show it all as a visual so they can see like, wow, you're hiring me because I'm actually better. And for those of you guys, if you don't have that, we can find the numbers for our market center, then you try to use those to compare them to the market and see what that looks like.
So CJ, when you go to use this though, that location total is all of the MLS. If you're going like in Shaker Heights, do you personally like go back and forth between the total MLS and what you do in Shaker Heights?
It depends how much I've sold in the area,
Right.
right? So like,
So, I mean, you're playing around with it a little bit.
it depends.
Or do you always.
We typically don't zoom into a market when I'm showing the overall,
Okay.
because just my team, we sell in such a broad area that's kind of hard to do. Like we don't have one city that we sell a ton in. I couldn't even tell you our number one city. We sell a lot in like Lakewood, we sell a lot in like Ohio City, Tremont, and we sell a lot in like Mayfield, and we sell a lot in Willoughby and Menor. Like we have these kind of chunks that we do a lot, but we're not like the number one market share person like some agents are. It's just we're a little bit more spread out. So what I want to do, I want to go back. We're gonna do the same kind of report, but I want to show you guys the totals of all Northeast Ohio. So I'm going to do the same exact report, except we're not going to single out Amanda. We're going to look at all the agents. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep broker checked. And so that's literally just means like all of the brokers that are around there that are in Northeast Ohio. So every agent essentially is going to show up in Northeast Ohio. And again, I'm not a pro, so I'm going to have to click in and out of this a couple of times because I'm not perfect. Okay. So now this brings up the top, in the last 12 months, the top agent sales by units. Okay, do you guys see how this units line is highlighted right here? Okay, so we're gonna change that to so you can barely see it, it's really light. So we're filtered by, so this is every agent in Northeast Ohio. So this is filtered by units. So in the last 12 months, so the easiest sales team has sold 732 units, which is, by the way, crazy. So it's units. I like to switch over to volume because units is a little harder to, it's harder to justify because someone could sell 1 million units, but you know, a $10,000 sales price, it's a little harder. So you got to click through these a couple of times. So I'm going to click on total sales, and this is volume. And then, so that put it to 0. I'm going to click on it again. It should take it to the top. So now this report is filtered by total sales and volume. So now you can look at, so literally the entire MLS, this is not just Keller Williams. So this is just information. It doesn't matter, but it's just always interesting to see. So this is by volume. So the easiest sales team the last 12 months has done 176 million in sales volume. So Inca Valles, Jose Medina, Ryan Young, Debbie Fronte, Adam Kaufman, Judy Crocker, right? So you can see. So I want to show you guys this. I'm gonna scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you can make these pages as big or as small as you want to. So what I want to show you right here. So this is always an interesting number. It's really small. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this says 10,165. Does anybody know what that number is? Yeah, so that's the total number of agents in MLS. Like, by the way, when I used to play around with this, yeah, it was like 6,000, maybe 8,000 was a big number. In the past couple of years, it's gone up to around 10,000. So we've seen more agents get into business just because the market's been, you know, crazy. So you can kind of see, that's always a quick, if you want to see how many agents are in our MLS, you can see out of there. So you could say, like when we do stuff like my team, I don't remember what we are. We were like number 52 out of 10,165 agents. So when I'm on a listing appointment, I know where my team rank is with both my teams combined. I'll say we're number 52 out of 10,000 agents. So that puts us in the 1% of the 1% of real estate is Northeast Ohio, and it's not wrong, right? Because especially as that number goes up, you can kind of find where your rank is if you wanted to, and wherever it is, and you could see whatever number you are in there. So it's interesting to just see is this is stat.
With our office too, correct?
You could do with our office,
So the
yeah.
agent- Any agent here could say our office is ranked here out of all these offices.
You could go and you could find all the agents that are in our office, and you could see where they're at. And there's ways, again, like I want to use these numbers for me personally to go like, I was looking at it this way, like, okay, if I'm going to go on a listing appointment, how can I have some sort of advantage over somebody else? Like, what can I say that somebody else maybe does, but they're just not going to say it? Like, I know in our presentation, we talk about showing time. Like every one of us have it, we all pay for it, we all use it, but maybe everyone doesn't put it in their presentation and talk about it. So I showed as a value that we provide that, like, oh, by the way, when you list your house with us, we have a showing service that we pay extra for every month, and it you know, blah 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 blah, right? I talk about what it is. Like we all have it, every single agent, not everybody, but most agents in Northeast Ohio pay for it. But why not add it into presentation as just an extra layer of value that you're going to provide to them?
So see that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Is it that listed by agent or by team? Or
Agent license number. So teams, so there's always the lead agent and a team. So you can, again, this one may not be as, so I'm gonna make this 100. So the top 100 agents, you could like find your name, you know, if you weren't here, or like Amanda, well, her license name changed, so it's weird. Like we do stuff in my team, like we can just get all the Keller Williams agents. You can filter by brokerage, and we'll just get all the Keller Williams agents. We'll go, we're number 15 out of, I think there's like 1,600 Keller Williams agents in Northeast Ohio or on MLS. So we'll use that as a tool, or that's kind of how we set goals too, of like, where do we want to be with that? So there's just a million ways to play with it. Do you guys want to dig deeper into this list? You can if you want to. Obviously, you can play with it on your own time. It's just really interesting to see of the business that people are doing. So you can see whoever.
You can actually sort that too by market center.
Yeah. So let me show you guys how to do that.
Click on it and it puts it in order, or
Well, yeah. So you have to almost do a whole new search.
okay.
It's not like
It
the
doesn't take the data
no, and
and
it's.
sort on columns.
And sometimes it's even weird. So let's use the same thing. We'll look at the whole MLS in the last 12 months. Again, you have to go with me on this because sometimes I have to click around a few times. So I'm going to click out of all brokers. Here's how I do this. So this is tedious, but it's just to do it to make sure you get, because in broker, not every broker is listed in there. If you're gonna, it's weird. It's kind of annoying. So I go into office. So I type in Keller Williams, and then we search. So we want to make sure we get every Keller Williams office we have. There is in here. So I'm gonna get all these Keller. I just highlighted all of them, right? So this is every Keller Williams office. I'm gonna add them all to my results here. I'm gonna do it, and so now it's gonna show every office that's a Keller Williams office. And we're going to show the report, and I hope this shows up as the agents and not just the office. Okay, so this is just Keller Williams, right? So we can see, so again, you can filter this however you want to. You could go, who has the most inventory and listings right now? And so you could literally click on here. So let's see, so Karen Richardson, but I think she's the Brian Holmes. Everything's in her name. So she has the most listings. Besides there, the Easy Sales team has 55. And Carvias at 36, so you can look at all sorts of different, so if you want to see like in volume, or you can find something that works. So these are the top names of the top 10 people as far as the sales volume goes in the last 12 months of Keller Williams, right? So just little things that you can do, again, so you can play with this a million different ways. Or if you're going up against a Berkshire Hathaway agent, you can look up the Berkshire Hathaway agents in an office and see what their production is if you want to, if you know that they're going through. Is that helpful of how I'm going through this? Do you guys care about this at all? Again, it's just if you're geeking out over data and you want, like I do sometimes, that's how I make decisions and look at the market and see what's going on. And it's just helpful to know and look at if you're playing around in there.
CJ, to better understand like what we're looking at, how big is our MLS? Like where, or it's not all of Ohio, is it?
No, so our MLS, it's obviously Northeast Ohio, but then it weirdly gets like a little bit of Columbus. It weirdly gets a little bit of West Virginia. It gets some of like Sandusky and Toledo. It gets Youngstown. It's big. I mean, it's a wide area. I don't know if there's a list of specifically the cities. I tried to one time look. I've done it a few times to like see all the houses for sale, and you can like see it around, but it just clumps them together after a while. You don't see the individual listing. So if you want, you could play with it, I'm sure, and see what's out there.
Stuff for under Greg would be like probably some of the Columbus market that they have down there.
So no, so like how my team's separated in both offices, this just shows my team here. Like so when they show the easy sales team, that does not include Select Ohio team.
Okay.
So it's none of their like Mike Trudick's name will be is in here separately.
Gotcha.
So it's
everything
not.
under there is just for the citywide office.
Yeah. So just
Okay.
the agents who are how their licenses are held
Gotcha.
at the citywide office. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know too, because I know with the expansions, that's a little confusing.
Yeah. So like with mine, so like once we separated offices, like it looked like my numbers went way down, but they didn't because it's combined into one. But in the MLS, because they do it based on license number. And I'll go even a step further with it. So let's just say I have David on my team, let's say David brings a buyer to Kathleen's listing, and Kathleen closes the sale out in the MLS as David as the agent and not me. I don't get credit for the sale in TrendGraphix, only David does. So sometimes as a team, we'll have to tell, whoever that, hey, just David's on the Trivisonno team, close it out or to him in the MLS. It doesn't really matter. Like sometimes it's just an ego thing, but for me, I like the data. Like I want to know what our numbers are so we can pile it all together and help us make decisions as a team. But so it's silly things like that. I'm sure you guys have done deals with people say, hey, can you close the deal under XYZ? I'm sure you've seen it before. Do you guys want to dive deeper into the agent stuff, or do you want to go into some of the data for the market? You guys want to do that?
Yeah, go into the market.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to the home screen. If you guys remember, this is we log in. So we're kind of resetting our brains here. Back to the home screen, and then we want to look at data. So first, I'm going to show you guys a default market report that TrendGraphix puts out for us. And if you guys have been in the team meetings in the past, I've shown these once or twice, I think. So let me go back to the beginning. So we want to click facts and trends. Again, I don't know why that's different from reports. I have no idea. It's just, you just have to almost remember where to go. So click facts and trends, and this is more market data instead of looking at the agent population. So this like the sales, like what's driving this conversation. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys, first of all, so do you guys see this where it says market summary? So this is like all of Northeast Ohio. Again, it's going to give you just a generic overall, and it's great info, by the way, and it creates a separate report for us. You can name it whatever you want. So we're going to just download the market summary from TrendGraphix. And so up here is this stupid logo that we're getting rid of. I don't know how that, whatever. And it has this header on here, which I don't know why. But this is like, if you're like, want to see what's going on in the market before you even go to an appointment, I mean, it's fantastic. So March 21, and so pause again. So TrendGraphix, it doesn't update. So what's this? So it's April 29th. So TrendGraphix usually updates like about after the first week of the month. So it's going to have the previous month's data up until about May 7th or so. Sometimes you have to check and see that it obviously give a different report than what's today. It's not a live report. It's month by month. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. So March 21 is the seller's market. No shit. The number of for sale listings. So look, this is great. So the number of for sale listings was down 58%. So in all of Northeast Ohio. So this is just stuff that you can gather when you're just thinking about your business as a whole, right? And down 8.2 from the previous month. So even down less than we're in what? So this is right, because this is March data, February, Number of sold listings increased by 0.8%. Okay, that's good news. And increased 32% month over month. You start going, okay, well, what's that mean? The number of under contract listings was up 48%, which is crazy compared to the previous months, and 32 from the previous year. Like that's pretty crazy too, right? Months of inventory based on closed sales is 0.9, down 57%. What's months of inventory mean? Who knows? What does that mean? It's like,
Based upon what's on the market versus how long it takes for homes to sell.
yeah,
It's the burn rate, I forget what it's called.
kind of the burn rate. So it's the amount of time that it would take every single house on the market to sell is what it is. And so what they're saying is, so like it's less than a month right now is pretty much what that's saying. And so 6 months means it's a balanced market. If there's 6 months of inventory on the market right now, it's a balanced market. If there's more than 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that means it's a buyer's market. That means there's a whole bunch of listings on the market, which means you're in the advantage to be the buyer, right? Because if you're a buyer looking and there's all sorts of houses for sale, so an opposite market of what we're in today. So think about what the opposite would be: a bunch of listings and very few buyers, right? So a buyer can pretty much decide and they can lowball everybody. That's like what it was when I got in the market. There was 1 million houses for sale, so they could have their picking, and buyers were writing 10 offers and just seeing which one came back with the best counter offer almost.
What's the number that you're looking at for that information? Is it 0.9?
Yeah, so
So
that's a confusing way to look at it. That's just on the stat. I'll show you once we get into the data here. I'll show you in a minute. So just on my months of inventory. So 6 months is a balanced market. Anything above 6 months is a buyer's market. Anything below 6 months of listing inventory means it's a seller's market. And so we'll look at the numbers, but so inventory is down 57% from where it was last year, which is crazy. So you can think about, even with that, 3 sentences in there, you could do more. Think about the marketing you could do with that. You could send out a flyer that says, whatever, listings are down. So, there's so many things you can talk about with just that little conversation. So again, I'm not going to go through all this. So the average sold price per square foot is up 3.6% compared to the previous month and 10.7% from last year. So that's like a crazy one. So as far as dollar per square foot goes, people are getting 10% more per foot right now than they did last year. So what's a message you can tell your clients right now if they're looking to sell a house? Sell your house right now, because you're going to get 10% more. And last year was like the record high. So you're going like, obviously we all know this as realtors, but like, what's that tangible data mean? And it's something you could talk about, and it makes you sound smart in an appointment. Like, you want to be that market expert. That's the goal of some of this stuff, is you want to be able to talk about this and sound like you know what you're talking about. Even though we all feel what's going on, but how do you actually say it? And this is exactly like, this is like such a cheat sheet. You could take each sentence and use it as a marketing piece or as a stat that you use in your listing presentation. Okay, well, the median sold price increased by 6% from last month. The average sold price also increased 6% from last month. Based on the 6-month trend, the average sold price trend is neutral, so that doesn't always mean much to us. The average days on market showed a neutral trend, a decrease of 27.9%. So the average days on market, so the amount of time that takes for a house to sell, houses are selling almost 28% faster this year than they did last year. Right, so as I'm reading this, I'm going, I'm missing on my team a marketing opportunity to tell my clients, like an email to my database, or a video, or a graphic that we post on social media, or something that you can show people like what is actually going on. So the ratio of sold price to original list price is 99%, an increase of 1% last year, which is crazy. So everyone who lists their house is basically getting 1% more from where they listed it to sold it, which means offers are up and higher. Right, so this is just one click of a button that shows us all this information. So this is like, if you don't know how to mess with anything else in TrendGraphix, if you just know this slide, again, it's not real like city specific, but overall, if you're explaining the market to someone, which I do, and if I'm on a listing presentation, I want to give them like the 10,000 foot view, like, hey, just so you know, let me explain to you what's going on in the market right now. And I might rattle off some stats and kind of explain to them what that actually means and why it's like either good for them or not, right? Okay, so what are we looking at? So this is homes for sale. And again, some of these get confusing. Just like, how can you explain it in an easy way, right? So the light bar, it's homes for sale. The dark green bar are the solds, and the red bar are the pending. So look at even from this time last year, the houses for sale. So look right here. So there's less homes for sale that are sold. Like, look at the pending, how many pendings there are. So inventory is gone. Like, pretty much it's saying the inventory is zilch. It's literally like negative inventory, which is insane. So we can get deep in it. I don't want to get too deep in this. You guys can print this off and read it yourself. again, so average sold price per square
I
foot.
switched your logo. I think. Go up a little bit.
Well, it's on the
Well,
left
I
side.
added this one on the left, and we have to have
Okay.
this, but this one on the right, they're
Okay.
changing
I saw
for us
it,
too.
it jumped out at me, I'm like,
Well, I don't want to get too deep. And so overall, because we're going to dive into these each one individual. So this is just like if you guys learn nothing else today, this one click of a button to get this market report will tell you so many stories that you can use in your business. You know, again, in a presentation or in marketing, or if you're navigating a client, if they're buying a house, you can show them to go, look, you don't want to write offers for more. I mean, so months of inventory. I mean, this is already a low number, 3.3, which is crazy low. And I've never seen anything that low before. Now you look at month, it's 0.09. So that's the 0.09 you're talking about. So a little bit over 3 to now literally less than 1 month of inventory. So if you're working with a buyer, you might show them some of these graphs and go, hey, I just want to set your expectations. Like you're probably not writing lowball offers. There's not going to be many houses for sale, and you might have to go above list price. We're like, it's all these conversations. It helps. And again, if we're showing them the data, they're going to believe us. They're like, it's a little bit more believable than us just spewing BS at them, right? Like instead of just realtor talk, it's actually showing them. What is this one? George, we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay.
This is the MLS market or the Ohio market?
Our MLS. So not one specific city. This is like, which is, I always use the whole MLS because it's a good way to talk about it, especially with like, or if you're talking with clients, you might say, look, in Northeast Ohio. In Northeast Ohio, there's this, or you could say, out of 10,000, almost 1,100 realtors in Northeast Ohio, these are the averages that are going on. But I always probably say Northeast Ohio if I'm talking to a client, so they understand. Okay, so again, that was just market summary where I'm moving my mouse around here. Just that click of a button gets you that. And so if you want it, like let's no, I don't want to do that. I want to get rid of that. So now let's get a little bit more hyper local. So again, if we're searching very similar to how we were looking for agents, now we can look at, area that we want to get data from about the market. So let's stick with, well.
where you're going, are you going to where the reports are again? If you want to know. We go backwards or
We're still in that same thing. So I'll go back to the home screen. So we're going to facts and trends. Yep.
Okay,
So
got it.
back in there to get us the actual market data, not the agent data. I'm going to show you guys a couple of things. So let's stick with all Northeast Ohio for right now. So you guys see how, how we printed that market summary. We opened up that. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of things. So up on the tab here, so you can see this for sale versus sold. So you can play around. You can toggle this a little bit if you want. So you can do just literally for sale versus sold. If you want to like export a graph, you can export it out of here. If you want to actually print this off, so if you have a specific graph that you want to show a client, I don't always go in with every single one of these. I might pick a few that really show what's going on or for their house. And so you can toggle these in any different way. So there's a million ways to look at these. I don't know what's one. Sold versus new listing. So again, just a different set of data. So you can see the new listings that are coming on the market versus the houses that have sold. So there's a ton. So average price per square foot. So you can look at, so in January of last year, the average price was 97. And in March was 114. So again, just a different graph you want to show people if you really want to wow people. And if you want to get listings right now. So right now we've been looking at the last year. So we're gonna play with the dates here. Let's look at the last, let's just go back. Let's go back 10 years. And I'm gonna show you guys what this is gonna look like. So you gotta always click show chart. And again, just play around, just click around. You're not gonna break it. So I'm just gonna show you guys, this is gonna be just more of a market conversation here. It takes a minute to upload the data. So in January, so the first quarter of 2011, so the average dollar per square foot was what, $62 per square foot. And then if you go look at probably the first quarter of 2021, $12 a square foot. I mean, it's crazy. So what is that? $40, $50, $60 per square foot higher that people are getting. It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, so like I got into real estate in like 2009, 2010. You almost look back and go, why wasn't I buying real estate?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just natural inflation is insane. I mean, just some of these in over 10 years, when you look at them, it's let's do this. No, what's a good one? So here's a good one, probably for some months of inventory. So look at the first quarter of 2011. It was almost 14 months of inventory. So you look, went down to like 10, went down to 8, which again, buyer's market because it's above 6 months. You can look at the waves, you know, all the way down to what it is today. So if you want to show like a visual to a, you know, so like, let's say you're working with a buyer and you want to tell them a story like, hey, if you were buying a house 10 years ago, this is what it looked like. Today, it's just different. Again, it's just however you want to tell that story to your client, you can tell it to them in a million different ways. It's pretty wild. So, and then this gives you a lot of the information too, if you want to look at like kind of the percentages here. So current versus same 12 months 9 years ago. So down 87% as far as months of inventory goes. So like it's 87% lower than it was. So there's tons of data in here that you can play around and look with, especially if you know how to like take data and convert it into a story. This is really helpful for you guys. I'm going to show you one thing that's a little bit deeper, and this is going to take us down a rabbit hole here. But see where it says data table. So we're going to click on this. It's going to open up a whole new world here. Actually, I'm going to pause. I'm going to change the dates. We're going to go back to the. Yeah, let's just go back to the last 12 months.
Data table.
Yeah, it's down. Sometimes it's hidden and might not show you. So again, so we're going to look at the last 12 months like we did in the beginning. And so if you go down here, and I opened it, I'm going to just close it. So click data table and it opens it up. So this gives you a bunch of data that you can look at from month over month, right? So you can look at, okay, January 2020, there were 10,822 houses for sale versus March of 2021, then 3,987 houses for sale. So like, there's a story right there. I mean, who can do the math on that? Right. So in just 1 year. So like, if you're telling a story, go like, how can I interpret this data to tell a story to my clients? So if your client's buying a house right now, you could show them this and go, there's less. And again, don't just take my word for it. Like, I promise you there's less houses. I'm showing you there's less, right? I'm giving you the data that's supporting my talk to you, right?
So that's good for them selling a house, but then if they have to turn around and buy a house.
You got to set expectations, right? If someone's coming to you today to buy a house, go like, absolutely, I'm going to help you. In your buyer consultation, at some point, I would just go and let's just take a minute and like, let's look at a 10,000 foot view of what the market looks like today, because I want to set your expectations of what's going on. And so when you start that conversation that way and you give them real life, they can't go, well, I'm going to run around lowball 10 people. You can go, well, hey, do you remember in the beginning of the bar? Remember we had that conversation, we sat down and talked about the market, and we talked about how much less inventory there is than even a year before. You go, so remember when you want lowball, so remember how much less inventory. So what do you think the odds are if you write a low offer that it's going to get accepted, right? So you almost have to like, I think that's sometimes why teachers end up doing really good in real estate, is because they teach their clients what the market is. They teach them about the process. They show them the information, so then they can help them interpret it to help them make better decisions, right? And so that's a lot of times what it is slowing down in the beginning to go, let me just show you what's going on first. And then if they don't want to do anything, fine. But just like, hey, I want to set your expectations, because I don't want you to be mad at me when you say, why aren't I getting offers accepted? You go, well, look at what the inventory is like. So what I would do is, when you're setting the expectation, if here's what the market is, then go, here's the strategy that we're going to have to use based on the data that we see, right? So here's how we're interpreting it. Here's how we're going to win with that data, right? So it's giving them, it's not just saying, here's a problem, I don't know what I would do. It's, so here's what it is, and here's what we do to help you win, right? It's showing them how to win with it still. I mean, so you can see some of these numbers. So more solds than before, right? So it's like less listings, less new listings. Well, I guess more new listings, but more solds, more pended, lower months of inventory. As far as pending goes, lower months. I don't love absorption rate. It's not my favorite because it's confusing to clients and confusing to me, to be honest with you. Here's a crazy one. Average active price in Northeast Ohio just in the past year, 238 last year and 305 now. So
Yeah, that's the number. It's crazy.
So you can go a little bit of like, okay, what does that mean? Why is that happening? You can start to kind of get deep into like, okay, what's the economics behind that? Are just higher price houses selling? Are people actually getting more? What's going on there? And you can start to really like, don't get deep with your clients because they can confuse them. Again, so you could take this and just interpret.
This is the one that I was talking about between the active price and the sold price. Like when you look at those two, I'm just surprised at the gap between this.
Which one are you looking at? Average active price versus these two?
Yeah, that's the two. Like I was just surprised that there's still been that gap between those two. That's the only one that just gets a little confusing. You gotta watch how you present that.
So average active price.
So I think.
Why is it showing that? Yeah. I don't know the answer to that. Does anybody know this? So do you guys see what he's saying? So the average active price versus the average sold price. So if you're looking right now, the average active listing price is 305 and the average sold price is 195.
So is it just that there's the price of the homes, like there's more homes being sold in like the $300,000 to $400,000 range versus like in the $100,000 to $200,000 range? Because that would be the like the active price of the house. That's what's on the market, right?
Yeah.
So I
They
think
should
a
still be a
better-
little closer together though.
It just might be the way the data is brought into this.
And the timing of it, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's been the thing that's been the only chart that I've ever had an issue with in TrendGraphix is like avoiding that slide with clients because.
Yeah.
I think you better looking at the median price, because on a set of data, average can be skewed depending on the value of the data. If you have a lot of data in a series that is up high, the average is going to be skewed.
Right.
So when you look at the median, the last two rows,
It's closer.
you're a little closer because median actually pulls in a series of data, pull the number that's equally distance from the highest number and the lowest number. So that gives you a better
No, it's
idea of
not
the
the
data
data.
set.
So yeah, so the data is a little how you interpret it. Okay, so let's just for sake of time here, because I didn't realize we're already at almost an hour. So let's go into like someone give me a city. Let's look at a city and we'll dive into it. Give me, I mean, literally any random city.
Why don't you do Solon?
Just use Solon. Okay. So again, I'm gonna find Solon over here just the same way that we talked in the beginning about the agent one. It's in alphabetical order once you find Cuyahoga County. And then some of these, if you're looking in like the downtown area, you need to know the MLS area. Like sometimes it's super confusing. Like 105 is like Ohio City, Tremont. 104 is like kind of outside of Gordon Square. Like 1001 is downtown. It's super weird in those ones.
So how do you find, like I have to go through the one I'm not quite sure which.
You need to search you need like it takes time learning the MLS codes. There's only a few of them that are weird. Most of them are by city. But just some of the downtown specific ones, like downtown is like, I'll find in here. It's super weird. It's like Cleveland East. Here it is, north of Euclid Avenue, Cuyahoga River. So like, what does that mean? But I know that's downtown just because, you know what I mean? It's the weird one. But anyway, do you have to pick it? So again, clicking around, clicking, playing, going back, clicking around, going back. It's just.
Something with that is it came up East Cleveland and then it came up Cleveland. I was like,
Yeah, there's definitely a difference. Yeah. Okay, so again, we're just gonna look at Solon, same data. We're gonna look at the last 12 months, and we'll just see what's going on in the market. So if you're preparing for a listing presentation, you might be able to pull up some of these slides and see. So just because months of inventory is here, same story. So it looks like it's a year ago today was at 3.8 months of inventory on the market, to now again 0.08. So it's actually less inventory than in the market as a whole. Mind-boggling, right? So let's go to our data table again, because this is just the easiest to look at data and look at it back to back, in my opinion. So year in January of 20, there were 57 houses for sale. Right now, there's 19 active listings in the market in Solon. I'd be curious to look at 10 years ago compared to today. There's probably like 200, maybe probably more versus 19. So again, if you have a buyer who's looking in Solon, you go, look, I want to set your expectations again. There's 19 houses for sale right now. So if we see a house that's on the market in our price point, we're gonna have to jump on it, right? And you might have to go high, and you might have to bid a lot. And oh, by the way, what are interest rates at today? Like I would always follow up with that. Yeah, interest rates are still low. So even if you have to pay a little bit more over the life of your loan, you're still gonna end up winning because your rate's so low. You're getting really cheap money right now. So that's a good way that I feel to help them like know that it's still okay time to buy right now. Okay, again, in Solon, 33 new listings in March, sold 23. So again, more are selling, pended, more, so the market's definitely still active. We saw that months of inventory. Let's see what else is.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry, Siri. So the average active price, so a year ago or January of 20 was 554. Right now it's 666. So price, so average sold price, again, the average, it's kind of funky. Average price per square foot that's sold. So in January of 20, it was $117 a square foot. So right now it's $152 a square foot. So I mean, that's a story. If you know people that live in Solon, like even if you're just in a conversation with someone, like, why you live in Solon? Wow, do you know how much prices have gone up there? Just like one of those little, and they go, no, what do you mean? Let me tell you, or let me send you some information, right? Like, go, I don't know if you can like literally screenshot this and shoot them off. Go, hey, look at this. Look at the difference of what it was. So if you know if anybody looking to sell their house right now, they're probably going to get more money. So again, it's just data supporting our conversation. So yeah, so if you're going into an appointment, so you can print out a number of these things if you really want to. Again, some of these graphs you can export and you can print these if you want to show clients. Just make sure that you know how to talk about them. You can show them and that it makes sense to make sure that what you're showing them leads you to the answer that you want. Like, don't show them all this stuff. And then they go, oh my gosh, like, so if you're going to show buyer some data, like make sure you show them what makes sense for what you're trying to get out of the conversation if you want to go down that route. So you got to just be conscious of what you're showing them. So again, like all these graphs kind of just show it's a visual of what's going on with everything. So 117, January last year to now 152. Again, so that's just a visual if you have a presentation. So to export these, I always get this messed up. You can email, but I think if you literally just click print, someone knows it better than I do. Let's just see, is that going to show us this? Let's highlight all these. Again, play around with this. I'm no pro. We'll just click on all those, whatever, and we'll create a report. We'll see what this gives us. Okay, again, we're going to change the logo. So here it is now. So you can print this out, or if you have an iPad or you bring your laptop, you can go through some of these slides if you want, or delete whatever ones you guys want to support what you're going for. So to me, I like showing that you're the market expert. I think will separate you from other real estate agents. Most real estate agents probably aren't going through this stuff, and if they are, they're probably experienced. So the more that you can just study them and read them, and what does that mean? Google what does average price per foot mean? If you're not quite sure, Google it, learn it, and then you can go in and talk about it. Right. So just something else to put in your tool belt when you go into listing presentation. I'm a big fan of all those. Is there anything else you guys want to go through? What else did we talk about in the beginning? Did I skip something? I feel like I did.
Just to let you know, now there's 2 logos up
Yeah, I know. It's
there. Did you see that?
yeah.
Or was it like that before?
No.
Okay.
Goes in the corner.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully today that's all fixed up. So blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I showed you most of it. So again, you could pick any city, like Solon. I mean, so I live in Rocky River. So here's like always an interesting one. Like Rocky River historically has no inventory. So let's see their months of inventory. Well, actually more than Solon. Interesting. Well, anything else you guys want to see in TrendGraphix? That's kind of the gist of it. So I would encourage you, like, go in and play with it. Again, like, so you can do the market. So you can do the market summary. You know how I did it on all of the whole MLS. So now that I have Rocky River picked in here, I can click market summary and it'll give me that whole summary report on just Rocky River. So again, if you're going to go on an appointment, you want to kind of learn real quick about your market.
Can you do reports on multiple seats?
Yes. So if you,
They show them, you gonna show us? Or?
let's see. So let's just say, you take Rocky River off.
Please begin.
Oh, crap. So always make sure you have to uncheck this all areas, or else it'll just give you everything. So if you keep going, why does it keep giving me, show me everything? It's because you have to make sure you uncheck that. Yeah, and if you guys have to get out of here, feel free to jet. What do you guys want to look at? So let's look at a few cities and we'll play with this. Let's see, Solon. Let's say we have someone looking in what? Solon, whatever, I don't know, Pepper Pike, and Aurora. Well, Aurora, that's a different county. Let's just.
So in Solon in here, because you know, in Solon and MLS is Solon and it's what, South Solon? North Solon?
I think South Solon is somewhere totally different.
Is it somewhere
Yeah.
totally different?
I'm pretty sure it's in a totally different part of the state.
Really?
So let's just pick two. We'll see what this. So I think it's going to give us the report for both of these. Yeah, so it looks like it's Pepper Pike and Solon. So if you have a buyer looking in a few different cities, you might be able to, or one by one. But I love this overall market summary. You can use this for so many different pieces of your business. Just a little bit of this, if you can interpret this into a fact, like we always did videos about the market and pulling it right from these numbers. And so we go, okay, inventory is down, you know what I mean? So like, and now write down the stats and then just think about like, okay, what's the story that I can tell based on what these numbers are showing me? And that's what you want to do with this. And again, if you have a super analytical client, print out a bunch of stuff and leave it with them and just let them tear through it if they want to, because they might just want to just deep dive into what's going on with it. Or else you might sit there for 4 hours with them, which I've done, going through all this stuff. And that's just part of the game, you know?
We had a hypersensitive engineer that we were working with last year, and I gave him this program.
Yeah, because they're not going to believe us.
No, they don't.
Yeah, even though we might know, we're going to say the exact same thing that's on here. They need to like chew on it, read on it. They're going to create their own spreadsheet from it. And they're going to look at the data and the house for sale and the prices and blah, 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 blah. And let them do it. Because if you don't let them do that, they're not going to use you. They'll find somebody else that's going to, or they're going to be stressed, or they're going to be under contract and they're going to be like, I don't want this house, because they don't feel like they did the research to be able to buy the house. Is there a question on there?
Yeah, Sandy says, can you search Cuyahoga County
Price increments? Tell us more, Sandy. If you're muted, you can unmute.
Hey, CJ.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, go ahead, Sandy. What you got?
Well, I know I've used this a lot, and I think, and what's interesting to me is to find out, like, if you search Cuyahoga County, you can search within like $50,000 or $10,000 price increments to see where the market is stronger, where it's weaker, and you know where are most of the houses selling under 100, between 200 and 300, where is the 300 to 600 price point lay. I mean, you could do that on here as well. I've done it before, but I think it's interesting to know that information to find out, you know, where are most of the buyers looking and what price point. I know it's kind of across the board, but you know, there are pockets of weaknesses. I mean, there are some homes that are sitting on the market in different price points, and I'm wondering what that price point is. You know what I mean?
Sandy, do you know how to do that? I don't know how to do that.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No.
Yeah, see right
That's what I
down
do
here.
so in depth.
You can see where it says select a price range right here at the left column,
Yeah.
where it says select property type. I mean, you could search, go 0 to no limit and go into, yeah, 50,000 price increments, and then select a city or a county and see what that looks like. I'd be interested to see. You know what I mean?
How do you do, is that do the price increments?
I think it does. Yes.
It filters the data based upon the price range. So if you put.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think it just filters it.
Well, let's just try one. Let's just see. Yeah, I think it just starts at 100,000. So it's only showing 100,000 and up.
100,000 would show up in the data.
Right. Yeah, Sandy, I'm not sure where to I think you
Oh.
are you saying you'd have to, do you manually do it? Do you literally go from like, you put the range of 100,000 to like 150,000? Or is there a way
No.
that does show the difference?
There is a way that it does it. You don't put a price point in there and then somewhere, I forget how it's done, but you can see, you know, in a chart, the price points, the price.
I forget. Yeah, that's a date range. So those are dates in there.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's through maybe it's through showings.com. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Because somewhere I like that data to see, you know.
I'm trying to think of where that would be. I don't know
You can't do
where it
that
would
on
show
here.
that.
Okay, well then never mind.
Yeah, but if you find out, let us know.
I will.
Again, I'm not a self-proclaimed expert on this. I'm an amateur. So some of you guys are definitely smarter than me and can probably figure out what some of this stuff means. I'd be curious to hear how you guys do with it. But that's all I have for today. If you guys have questions, let me know. But I encourage you to play around with it, click around and see what makes sense. Any last minute questions? Michelle will send you the login. I forget what it is. I have it just saved in my computer and so I just click it on. So I don't know. Anybody online have any questions? No? Okay. Cool. All right, everybody. I appreciate all of you. Have a great day. Hopefully you learned something. Anything else on there, Garrett? Okay. Yeah. If you guys need anything, give me a holler. I'm around. Or again, if you're diving into this and you run into a problem, let me know. I'm happy to play around with it. But yeah, use it for your listing presentations. I think it's a powerful tool. Thanks everybody for coming online.
Very much.
Yeah, thanks guys. Have a great day.
This blows